Exposed. The heartwarming mistake behind Ferrari's creation of Lamborghini's life-changing rival. Thomas wiped his oily hands on a rag, his chest pounding as he stepped into the chaos of the local car show. The loud engines roared, a symphony that echoed his dreams. Today wasn't just another day. It was a chance to unveil his radical engine design. He could feel his father's spirit beside him, whispering encouragement. But trembling anxiety wrapped around his chest like a vice, squeezing tight. Just as he rolled in his pride and joy, a sleek creation meant to fuel his dreams, he caught sight of a man in an expensive suit, radiating snobbery. A representative from Ferrari, here at his humble show. Here to watch him. Thrumming with excitement, he approached. But the man's eyes flicked over him, dismissive, as if he were just another grease monkey, nothing more. Cute, the man scoffed, eyeing the design with a curled lip, and Thomas watched as the air left his lungs. His heart sank to the pit of his stomach. Had all those late nights in the garage been futile? No, they couldn't be. His father had always told him, "Respect the work, son. It's your worth, not the labels." But the ridicule cut deeper than any tool he wielded. Tears threatened as he retreated, the voices of the crowd fading into a dull roar. Humiliation burned in his cheeks, and the weight of his father's health battered his spirit. That moment standing before Ferrari shattered him. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he stumbled backward, fury ignited. Thomas remembered the stories his father told him, tales woven with respect, resilience, and dignity. Who was this man to belittle all he had worked for? That raging fire fueled his determination, and no longer was he just a mechanic. He Thomas, the designer who would revolutionize the automotive world. His vision, aptly named Lamborghini, would rise from the ashes of defeat. But doubts lingered like dark clouds overhead. With a renewed spirit, he returned to his garage, the heart of their home. Friends and neighbors, witnessing his rising despair, rallied together. The once dusty garage transformed into a workshop filled with laughter, sweat, and the aroma of fresh oil. They believed in Thomas. They believed in hope. Yet, just as dreams began to solidify, tragedy struck. His father's health deteriorated, and shadows loomed where there was once light. Alone and overwhelmed, Thomas felt everything slipping through his fingers. Then, like a soft breeze in a storm, news shook his world. His father's health crisis mirrored the pain of Ferrari's representative. Family tragedy weighed heavy on both their hearts. It was a haunting reminder of the struggles they shared. Could they reconcile? The emotional stakes rose higher, and Thomas stood at the precipice of a breakthrough. Forgiveness mixed with yearning for respect. He clutched his father's teachings tightly, but in this charged moment, he faced a daunting question. Can dreams built on a foundation of community and shared struggles truly triumph over a world so quick to judge? In the days that followed the car show, Thomas felt like a ghost in his own life. He sat in the garage, surrounded by the buzzing energy of his friends, but the thrill of the engine designs felt distant. Each tweak and adjustment echoed with the specter of that Ferrari representative's scorn. The walls seemed to close in around him, reminders of the dreams he was trying to resurrect. His father's condition grew more serious, with whispers of hospitalization becoming reality. The phone calls were relentless. Doctors, treatments, and fears swirled in a fog that made every breath feel heavier. One night, after yet another disappointing update, Thomas sat in silence, waiting for inspiration to strike. Instead, he found himself staring at the old pistons and gears that filled the shelves, an odd comfort within their clutter. His friend Marco wandered in, breaking the silence like the roar of a freshly started engine. "You okay, man?" His voice was concerned but light-hearted, a reminder of their shared dreams. Just thinking about where I went wrong, Thomas replied, avoiding Marco's gaze. What if I'm just not cut out for this? Hey, remember last summer? Marco said, planting himself on a stool close by. You were ready to give up on that race car. You said you'd never make it, and look what you did. Thomas cut him off. Yeah, but this is different. This isn't about speed. It's about respect, legacy. Maybe I'm just chasing a fantasy. The words hung in the air, dense with doubt and disappointment. Marco leaned closer. You're not chasing a fantasy, Thomas. This is your passion. Your father raised you to stand tall. You can't let one arrogant suit crush everything you've built. His friend's words sparked a flicker of resolve within him. He thought about the rumbling laughter shared in this garage, the camaraderie that blossomed amid grease-stained overalls and dreams of engines that could roar into life. That was the heart of his design, and it beat in rhythm with the community that stood beside him. Let us do this, Thomas said, standing taller. I'll make sure my father sees the design before he hesitated, the weight of reality bearing down. He couldn't finish that thought. Before what? Marco pressed, concern etched on his features. Before it's too late, Thomas whispered, his heart heavy yet resolute. Days turned into nights filled with relentless work. He poured into the design like a craftsman shaping clay, determined to carve out a creation worthy of his father's legacy. But with every hour spent in the garage, his father was sinking deeper, becoming a shadow of the man Thomas adored. It pained him to think that the one who had inspired his dreams might not see them realized. Would his father ever witness the fruit of their shared passion? And then the moment struck. A hidden inspiration ignited within him as he stared at the gleaming components strewn about the garage. What if he combined the raw power of his design with the elegance and respectability that Ferrari represented? Would that create something the world had never seen before? The very thought sent warmth coursing through him, pushing back against the chill of despair. Just then, a knock interrupted his thoughts. It was Marco again, his expression grave. You need to get to the hospital. Now. Thomas's heart raced. The urgency in Marco's voice sparked an overwhelming mix of fear and hope. Is it we need you there? Marco said. But before he could finish, Thomas was already moving. With every step toward the car, his mind raced. Would he make it in time? Could a dream truly be birthed in the shadow of loss? There was an electric pulse in his veins, a collision of love, fear, and ambition. As he climbed into the driver's seat, he made a promise to himself and to his father. He would chase that dream, not just for himself, but for the man who inspired every design and every hope. But was he too late? That haunting thought, heavy and real, clung to him as the engine roared to life. Thomas sped through the night, heart racing for answers. But in the depths of his mind, the nagging question grew louder. Could love and ambition heal a heart broken by loss? The hospital loomed ahead like a dark mountain, its lights a beacon of hope and fear. Thomas gripped the steering wheel tighter, the metal cold against his palms. He could feel his heart pounding in rhythm with the engine's roar, a racing backdrop to his spiraling thoughts. Just breathe, he whispered to himself, trying to calm the storm inside. He rounded the last corner, pulling into the parking lot with the urgency of a man running out of time. He jumped out, leaving the engine idling, and dashed toward the entrance. Each step felt heavy, yet his mind was racing ahead, imagining what he might find inside. Soon as he entered, the sterile smell of antiseptic hit him. A chill crept up his spine, mixing with his anxiety. He spotted Marco by the reception desk, pacing nervously, and rushed over. Did they say anything? Thomas asked, nearly out of breath. Marco shook his head, worry etched across his brow. Nothing yet. Just we need to be strong. Thomas nodded, unable to form words. They sat in the waiting area, surrounded by muted conversations and the faint beeping of machines. Time stretched, pulling at him like molasses. He kept picturing his father, strong and smiling, the man who had lifted him onto his first go-kart, filling him with dreams of speed and glory. What if he began hesitating? What if I didn't get here in time? Let us not think like that. You've got the design, right? You'll show him. Is what he'd want. The reminder of his vision, the perfect car that merged power with elegance, brought a flicker of hope. He questioned himself. What if he could show it to his father? What if that design became not just a creation, but a lifeline that sparked something deeper? Moments passed in silence, each tick of the clock amplifying the tension. Thomas couldn't sit there any longer. He stood, pacing, going over the details of his creation in his mind. Each line, every angle, all the choices he had made, they were all inspired by his father. A tribute woven from their shared love for cars. Suddenly, the doors swung open, and a nurse stepped out, her face a mask of professional calm. "Thomas?" she called gently. His heart sank. "Yes? Your father is asking for you. You can go in now." The words washed over him like a wave, drowning his fears in a rush of bittersweet relief. He nodded, following her down the fluorescent-lit hallway, each step feeling like a leap into the unknown. As he entered the room, the sight hit him like a punch. His father lay in the hospital bed, a shadow of his former self. The vibrant spirit Thomas had known was now frail and weary, the beeping machines the only signs of life in the room. It felt like a great monument to the passing of time, of dreams dimming in the shadow of reality. "Dad," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm here." His father turned, eyes filled with recognition and a flicker of joy. "Tommy, my boy." The sound of that name, once so full of life, now stirred a mix of emotions in Thomas, both comfort and pain. "I wanted you to see something. Something I've been working on," Thomas said, trying to summon a smile. His father's gaze sharpened, interest battling his exhaustion. "What is it?" Seeing his father perk up, Thomas pulled out his sketches from the folder he had carried with him. He laid them on the bedside table. "It's not just a car. It's our car." As the old man's eyes scanned the designs, Thomas felt a bridge form between them, strengthened by passion and reinforced by love. But just as a small spark ignited in the room, his father's face softened, revealing the toll that life had taken. "Tommy?" he started, but then hesitated as a harsh cough racked his body, cutting through the tentative peace. Thomas rushed to his father's side, concern mingling with desperation. "Dad, just hold on. I need you to hold on. We have so much more to do together." As the old man settled back into the pillows, a pained expression flickered over his features. "You need to create for both of us. Don't let this keep you from your dreams." Tears pricked Thomas's eyes, but he swallowed hard, drawing deep breaths. He had to be strong. He had to believe that within creation lay the power to heal not just themselves but the bond they shared. Would the act of creation bring his father back, if only for a moment? Or would it transform Thomas into a man worthy of the legacy his father had built? With those thoughts spinning, he leaned closer, desperate to seize this moment, knowing life was fragile yet fiercely beautiful. He couldn't help but wonder, what would become of the dream they'd crafted together in this old, beloved garage? Could it truly bring back a flicker of the father he feared he would soon lose? "Tommy," his father's voice broke through the haze of uncertainty. "You're going to make it. I believe in you." His father's words hung in the air, charged with the weight of unspoken dreams. Thomas felt a warmth pour into him, a flicker of hope igniting deep within. They had shared countless moments, late nights in the garage, racing through winding roads, laughter echoing under the bright sun. But now, they were clutching onto those memories like lifebuoys in a storm. "I will, Dad," he replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his heart. "I promise I'll finish it. You'll see it in person, I swear." His father nodded slowly, his breath shallow but steady. "Make it beautiful, son. Make it something that shines like you." The suffused pride in his father's eyes sent a jolt through Thomas, fueling his resolve. "Beautiful. Just like you taught me," he murmured, remembering his dad's reluctant but joyful laughter when he had first painted his childhood bicycle Ferrari red. Then came a silence that felt thick and heavy. The hum of machines punctuated their stillness, the rhythmic sound imitating Thomas's jittery heartbeat. He traced his fingers across the sketches again, feeling like he was holding on to more than just paper. They were fragments of a legacy, sparks of their shared bond, dreams woven together. "I need to show you something else," Thomas said suddenly. Inspiration surged within him. "Here." He pulled a small remote from his pocket. Earlier, while waiting, he had loaded a digital model of the car concept onto his phone. "I'll show you the 3D model. You can see how the lights would shine. The color's just right." His father's eyes brightened momentarily. It was as if the idea of seeing the car in a new dimension breathed life back into him. "All right, let us see it, Tommy." He glanced back at the door, half expecting someone to burst in or the moment to get interrupted. But as he sat beside his father, cradling the phone like a precious artifact, the world outside blurred into silence. As Thomas activated the model, the screen glowed to life. The car materialized in a perfect blend of streamlined curves and shimmering paint. He animatedly pointed out features, the engine layout, and the cockpit positioned for comfort and speed, each word spilling out of him as excitement ignited within. His father leaned closer, his eyes widening with genuine interest and awe. "It's magnificent," he breathed, a smile inching its way across his face. "You really captured it. My boy, you're..." But then, abruptly, a fit of coughing seized the frail figure in the bed. Thomas's heart lurched as he reached out to hold his father steady. "Dad, no, please." The phone slid from his hands, landing on the floor with a soft thud but went unnoticed. After a tense moment, the coughing fit subsided. His father, pale and trembling, fell back against the pillows, gasping for breath. Thomas felt the ground beneath him shift, certainty turning to dread. He had not come this far to lose him. "Tommy, it's okay," his father rasped, reaching for his hand. "Just promise me you'll do it. Finish it. I'll be with you always." With tears threatening to spill, Thomas tightened his grip around his father's hand. "No, you have to be here when it's done. I can't do this without you." His father's gaze softened, filled with wisdom that belied his condition. "You carry me with you, Tommy. In every dream, in every design." Struggling with the rush of emotions, Thomas felt a calmness begin to settle into his chest. He realized that perhaps it was true. The dreams they crafted forged an unbreakable bond, transcending time and even mortality. But deep down, a fearful thought gnawed at him. What if he couldn't truly finish the car without his father by his side? Just then, another surge of urgency gripped him, the sense that time was slipping away from them. "I'll make you proud, Dad," he whispered. "I'll make it the best car in the world." As the connection between them deepened, a sense of purpose solidified. The journey ahead would not be easy, but it would be one worth traveling. What lay ahead for Thomas now felt like an open road under a wide sky, full of possibilities and challenges. Would he find the strength to finish the creation that both he and his father dreamed of? What would become of the legacy that awaited his hands to shape it? Thomas sat in the quiet of the hospital room, the soft beep of machines a constant reminder of the fragility of their time together. His heart raced, the rush of emotions swirling within him like a tempest. He glanced at the phone on the floor, the 3D model still flickering in the background, reflecting the light of his father's fading spirit. Gathering every ounce of strength, he pulled himself away from the overwhelming sense of despair. "I need to work on this, Dad," he whispered, pride swelling within him like a balloon as he cradled his father's hand. "Maybe it can be a race car. Maybe it can shock the world. Just like we always dreamed," his father murmured, his voice a raw whisper that trembled in the air. Thomas stood up. He couldn't let darkness consume him now. With determination igniting his spirit, he stretched. The sketches on the wall called to him, each stroke of pencil a testament to shared passion. The hospital room faded into the background. Here was his true calling, a bridge to connect past memories with the future he wanted to create. He moved to gather the scattered papers, brushing off the weight of doubt. "You'll see, Dad. I'll finish it." The steady thud of his heart was a drumbeat in his ears, encouraging him to chase the vision rather than cower before fear. Flipping through sketches, he felt the rush of excitement. It was more than design. It was the embodiment of their love, their dreams. He took a deep breath and imagined the roar of the engine, the way the car would soar down the track, cutting through air like a silver arrow. "Remember that summer?" he asked, grinning despite the heaviness in his heart. "The time we built that go-kart? You said it would be the fastest on the block." His father's eyes sparkled with distant memories. "You were a champion that day, Tommy. You always put your heart into your work." "I can still feel the thrill," he replied, inspiration igniting anew. "I can make this car a symbol of everything we've built together." As moments passed, he poured every ounce of creativity and love into the design. The realization crashed over him: this wasn't just about completing a project. It was about keeping the connection alive. As the sun dipped low outside the window, Thomas felt a sense of clarity wash over him. But with each stroke of the pen, the nagging fear returned. Would he truly be able to breathe life into this dream without his father's guiding hand? He could hear all the things he wanted to say, all the things he wished he had said long ago. He envisioned his dad's smile, heard him say, "I believe in you," and in that moment, it almost felt as though his father was right there beside him. The thought struck him like lightning. He needed to channel not just his father's teachings, but also the lessons inherited from every moment of laughter, every tear shed, every race they shared. The thought pulsed with urgency. He had to act, to find a way to realize this dream before it became a memory lost to time. "Dad," he said quietly, looking down at his father, "help me. I need you to help me keep our dream alive." As night descended over the city, the shadows around the hospital room felt heavier. But Thomas resolved himself, pumping with newfound adrenaline. He would do whatever it took. Inspiration surged within him like a rush of wind. But just as he began to sketch with renewed vigor, a whirl of chaos outside the room broke through. Voices raised, footsteps pounding down the hallway. Something was wrong. Thomas turned sharply, an instinctive fear clawing at his chest. Was this yet another test? As the door swung open, a nurse rushed in, alarm clear on her face. "We need immediate assistance here." Thomas's heart dropped. Was this the moment they dreaded, when fate would take a turn he wasn't prepared for? Before he knew it, uncertainty wrapped around him, urging him forward into an abyss of fear. Would he be able to hold the dream in his hands, or would everything they built together slip away? With a deep breath, he steeled himself to face whatever lay ahead. What would this moment reveal about the strength of their bond? And would he find a way to keep pushing forward, no matter the cost? He felt it, a surge of panic flooding his veins like ice water. The urgent call from the nurse echoed in his mind, bouncing off the walls of the hospital room. The world outside seemed distant yet overwhelming, reality pressing in from all sides. Just moments ago, he had felt inspired, charged with hope and determination. But now doubt crept back in, twisting his stomach into knots. Is it my dad?" he managed to stammer, his voice barely slicing through the noise of chaos beyond the door. He could feel his heart pounding like a drum. It was a reminder that time was running thin, but he still felt anchored in the vibrant memories built over years. The nurse's eyes darted to him, a mix of urgency and empathy flashing across her face. "I can't say right now, but you need to wait here. We're trying to stabilize him." Her urgency wrapped around him like a heavy blanket, but her words held a sliver of hope. Thomas couldn't stand still. He had to get out. Ignoring the sensation of his feet rooted to the floor, he moved toward the door, but the nurse stepped in front of him. "You can't go in there. Please," he shot back, desperation slipping out like a whispered secret. "He needs me. I need to be there. Let us do our job. We'll keep you updated." With that, she busied herself in the hallway, leaving Thomas to navigate the tempest of emotions threatening to engulf him. He turned back to the room and dropped into the chair, feeling it wrap around him like a punch as he tried to focus his mind. A million thoughts raced through him. What were the doctors doing? Was it too late? And then he remembered. This was the man who poured everything into him, who fought through life's toughest challenges just to teach him the way of the world. How could he let fear dictate this moment? Determination flickered inside him like a candle flame. "Okay, Dad," he spoke quietly to the empty room, gripping the sketch pad tight. "This is for you." I'll do this for both of us. The crisp lines of his sketches floated before him, waiting to be ignited with life. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply, reminding himself of the laughter, the races, the passion that had illuminated their lives. He picked up a pencil and began anew, creating from his heart, not letting the shadows of fear snuff out the light. As he drew, he lost track of time. Each stroke became a dance of emotions poured onto paper. Exhaustion and innovation became his only companions. He imagined the roaring of the engine, painted in vibrant colors, a vision glistening with promise, a blend of everything they had hoped for. After what felt like hours, the nurse finally returned. Her expression was softer now. "We're stabilizing him. It's going to be a long night, but he is strong. You can go in soon." Relief washed over him, tinged with the bittersweet reality of their situation. Thomas nodded, taking a moment to collect himself. "Thank you." Once alone again, he found himself staring at his drawings, at that vision, the symbol of hope he wanted to bring to life. He needed it now more than ever. Suddenly, the urgency morphed into an idea. He could rework the design based on the lessons of resilience and determination he had learned from his father, the very thing that made them human. Tears filled his eyes, knowing he had the capability to not only create a car but also honor a legacy. As he put pencil to paper again, a single thought bubbled up, one that sent shivers down his spine. What if I can incorporate something of Dad into this design? With renewed vigor, he poured all those moments, the laughter, the sweat, the love, into the car's blueprint. Every detail told a story. Each line represented their bond, pushing through the darkest challenges. The room filled with the sounds of scribbles, a quiet yet powerful serenity imbuing the space. But just as he lost himself in the creation, another ruckus erupted outside, more frantic this time. He could hear shouting and voices raised in alarm. A fresh wave of fear pressed against him, tightening like a vice. Thomas paused, gripping the paper tightly. What was going wrong now? Would this be the moment everything slipped away? He shook his head, banishing the anxiety that threatened to swallow him whole. In that moment, he made a promise to himself, a vow that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he would not give in to despair. He would fight for the dream, and for every precious second he had left with his father, he needed to summon every ounce of courage, every last shred of hope, because inevitably, every moment counted. Would he be ready when the next turning point came? Or would fear claim more than just his dream? The noise outside got louder, insistent. Thomas jumped, every instinct in him flaring to life. He felt trapped between the paper in his hand and the chaos beyond the safety of his temporary fortress. The pencil shook in his grip. Would he lose everything if he let panic win? He set the pencil down, closed his eyes, and took a deep breath, straining to catch all the details of the moment. The scent of antiseptic mingled with a faint hint of something sweeter, the bubblegum taste of childhood from a neighbor's car that his dad had once helped him work on. He could almost hear the laughter that echoed through the garage, the sound of metal against metal, and his father's steady voice guiding him. "I need you with me, Dad," he whispered, almost pleading. "I need your strength right now." Just then, one of the other nurses dashed past him, her face set in determination. "We need more help in here," she called out, urgency and authority swelling in her voice. That was it. The thaw in the air around him shattered. Thomas leapt to his feet, heart racing. He had to know. He couldn't sit idle, waiting for news that could change his life in a heartbeat. He pushed the door open, ignoring the nurse's apprehensive glance as he slipped into the narrow corridor. The fluorescent lights hummed above as he wove through a maze of patients and medical staff, his pulse pounding like a clock ticking down to the inevitable. Felt surreal, each hurried step making it all too real. He needed answers. With every footfall, memories flashed. Days spent crafting toy cars and nights dreaming up speed demons with his dad. The passion had fueled him, a shared secret that cemented their bond. But reality beckoned. He couldn't drift away on nostalgia now. As he reached the end of the hallway, he spotted a small crowd gathered outside a different room, their faces shaken, but his focus was singular. A doctor came into view, his brow furrowed and his expression grave. Panic surged again, and Thomas's breath hitched in his throat. "Doctor," Thomas called, stepping forward. The doctor turned, surprise crossing his features. "Sir, you can't be here. It's not safe." His tone was professional but edged with weariness. Thomas stood firm. "I know you're doing your job, but I need to know about my dad. Please, your father is stable for now, but there are complications. We'll do everything we can, but he's in critical condition." The way the doctor said it, as if the words themselves could crush hope, sent a jagged wave of despair crashing over him. Complications? The word hung in the air like a dark omen. What could that mean? "Thomas," the doctor continued, his voice softer, "I need to prepare you. This could be a long battle. We're hoping for improvement, but nothing is certain." The weight of those words wrapped around him, suffocating. Reality hit hard. Every second mattered, but what if he had to say goodbye? "Can I see him?" Thomas managed, desperation clawing at him. "Not yet. We need to keep him stable. I can assure you he can feel your presence. That connection matters to him." With that, the doctor turned, disappearing into the flurry of activity. Thomas felt everything start to tilt. He needed to return to those drawings. They were his lifeline, the embodiment of everything they had built together, a race against time now filled with uncertainty. But just as he turned back toward the waiting room, hope flickered through the chasms of fear. Could he create a design potent enough to make a difference? Taking a deep breath, Thomas returned to his chair, picked up the pencil, and felt the surge of creativity ignite once more. He would pour every ounce of love and determination into the paper. "I'll create something that will make him proud," he vowed quietly to himself. What if he could revive the dreams they shared, weaving them into something innovative that might bridge the challenges ahead? Outside the room, the echoes of chaos began to quiet down, but inside, Thomas was wrestling with a personal reality. Would creating something so deeply inspired by love be enough to fight for? His father's life? Thomas sat still, the pencil heavy in his hand as he stared at the blank sheet before him. His mind raced, trying to capture the blend of memories and emotions swirling inside him. The urgency of the outside world faded as he plunged into the depths of his thoughts, where hope battled despair. He remembered how they had spent countless hours discussing car designs, sketching their dreams on sketches that brought laughter and life into their garage. He could almost hear his father's voice, playful yet firm. "Cars aren't just machines, Tommy. They're dreams on wheels." The echo of those words filled the room with warmth, igniting a flicker of determination in Thomas's chest. He squeezed his eyes shut, blocking out the sterile hospital smells and the muffled chaos outside. The world was still there, but he wanted to find a way back to that garage, back to the simplicity of just being there with his dad. A vision crystallized in his mind, a sleek car design, racing down an open road, wind whipping past, free and unyielding. His father's laughter layered over the motor's roar. He wanted to create something that honored that laughter, something that represented their bond. He took a deep breath, letting the air fill him with purpose. Each stroke of the pencil was a hope, a connection. As he drew, the lines began to take shape, first as a simple concept, then layering details, merging ingenuity with nostalgia. It wasn't just art. It was a memorial to their shared dreams and a tribute to the life they had envisioned together. But a nagging thought lingered. Would his father even recognize his essence in the design? What if it wasn't enough? What if? Thomas halted, his hand suspended above the paper. He could feel the panic rising again, threatening to deep-six his creative wave. No, he couldn't allow doubt to overshadow the flicker of determination. If his father could feel his presence, if the doctor believed in the connection they shared, then perhaps his creativity could be a lifeline, a signal of his love that transcended the machinery of life and death that he kept drawing, letting each line breathe life into the creation. The wheels became whirls of energy, the contours pulsing with passion. In that small corner of the world, surrounded by uncertainty, he was pushing against the tide, forging forward with love as his foundation. Suddenly, a door creaked in the distance, and Thomas turned to find an elderly lady quietly observing him from a few feet away. Her eyes sparkled, filled with kindness and understanding. "Are you crafting a dream?" she asked softly, her voice like a gentle touch. Thomas glanced at her, surprised to see empathy reflected back at him. "I guess you could say that," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's beautiful," she said, stepping closer. "You have a gift. Don't let fear take that away from you." Her words hung in the air, settling in the spaces of his heart. He felt an odd rush of comfort wash over him, as if that small reassurance might stake a claim against the monstrous shadow of despair lurking in the corners. With renewed energy, Thomas returned to his sketch. "I need to make it perfect," he murmured, focusing on every detail, every curve. This wasn't just a drawing. It was a bridge, a statement of love he wanted to send to his father. As the design reached its climax, he felt an overwhelming sense of purpose envelop him. If his dad could see this, feel what he was feeling, maybe that connection would somehow draw them together in this harrowing time. Feeling a sudden burst of determination, he paused. What if it really could reach him? The question flared bright in his mind, igniting every ounce of creativity within him. But just as he turned the sketch toward the lady, searching for affirmation, a sudden commotion erupted outside the door. He caught glimpses of frantic movements, voices heightened in urgency. His heart strained as anxiety clawed at him. What was happening now? He looked from the drawing to the door, torn between his work of love and the growing fear of the unknown. Would this moment be disrupted before he could share it, before he could truly believe in the power of connection? What lay beyond the door? Would it pull him away from the thing that felt most alive? With that, he stood abruptly, uncertainty gripping him tighter than ever. Could he handle whatever news awaited? Would he find strength amidst the chaos? Thomas paused at the door, heart racing. The commotion outside felt like a riptide pulling him away from the warmth of his memories. The elderly lady's encouraging smile lingered in his mind, yet the fear of losing this moment threatened to drag him under. He opened the door just enough to peek outside, and the sight sent a chill through him. Medical staff rushed past, expressions tight with focus. The air felt electric, heavy with anxiety. Voices called out for a doctor, urgency hanging thick like a fog. "Is everything okay?" he asked, stepping out into the hallway. One of the nurses, a young woman with tired eyes, looked back at him, panic rippling across her features. "No," she said, her breath quickening. "It's Mr. Hawthorne. He's having complications." The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Thomas's stomach dropped. He barely registered the world around him, only feeling the pulse of fear coursing through his veins. His father needed him. What if he needed him now, more than ever? Caught in an internal storm, he hesitated for just a heartbeat, then shut his eyes tight. He could still picture his dad's laughter, the shared dreams of their garage kingdom. He had to hold on to that. "I can help," he managed to say, surprising himself with the steadiness of his voice. The nurse nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. "Please," she urged, pointing down the hall. "Follow me." They hurried together, but Thomas felt detached, like he was running in slow motion. Thoughts spiraled. What did complications mean? Was this it? His grip on his sketch tightened. It felt like both a lifeline and a heavy weight he couldn't put down. If he could just finish it, show his dad they could still dream together. Arriving at a door marked with bold, red letters, Thomas felt the air grow dense, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. There, surrounded by flickering machines, lay his father, pallid and fragile in the bed. Tubes snaked around him, and the sounds of beeping pierced the sterile silence. "Dad!" Thomas rushed forward, panic clawing at him as he moved closer. His father's eyes fluttered open, reflecting confusion before settling on Thomas. A flicker of recognition sparked, cutting through the haze of distress. "Tommy," his father whispered, voice rough and strained. "You're here." "I'm here," Thomas assured, his heart aching. "I've been working on something for you." He reached for his sketch, a part of their dream that he hoped would bridge the chasm of uncertainty between them. But the moment their eyes locked, he sensed that the complexities of hope and despair clashed in the air between them. His father's hand, trembling but determined, reached out weakly. Thomas placed his sketch on the bedside table, the pencil strokes now imbued with purpose. "Sakar, Dad. I wanted to show you it's our dream. Remember?" As he explained the design, describing every curve and vision, he saw his father's furrowed brow ease, if only for a moment. But then the beeping intensified, a stark reminder of the emergency lying just beneath the surface. "I've got you, Dad," Thomas whispered, tears threatening to spill. But he felt powerless against the weight of reality convulsing around them. Love pulsated through his words, but would it be enough to keep them connected? Then, just as his father's eyes began to glimmer with pride and understanding, another nurse rushed in, her face set in deep concern as she breached their precious moment. "We need to stabilize him now." Thomas stepped aside, his heart breaking as he watched the people move around his father like a whirlwind. Chaos reigned around him, yet in that spiraling storm, he felt a thread holding him close to his father. As they began to work, all he could do was stand back, heart pounding. Would he have enough time to show his dad the life he had captured on that page? Would the connection they shared last long enough to truly understand the dream they had built together? With those questions echoing in his mind, Thomas took a step back, clutching the edge of the table. Could hope really light a path through the darkness that threatened to engulf them? On the edge of fear and love, he waited, wondering if the next moment would bring the answer he so desperately needed or the finality he feared the most. Thomas stood at the threshold of an overwhelming storm, both in the hospital room and within himself. Desperation clawed at his heart as he watched the nurses and doctors surround his father, the beeping machines forming an orchestra of urgency. Floating in that whirlwind of worry, he clutched the sketches tighter, as if they could physically connect him to his father. "Please, just a moment longer," he pleaded silently, watching their frantic movements. His father lingered between the edges of consciousness and darkness, his gaze searching, desperately trying to focus on his son. That flicker of recognition drove Thomas to find his voice. "Dad, please, I'm here." Their eyes met, and it felt like time slowed down. In that suspended moment, everything outside faded into a murmur. Thomas took a step closer, heart racing, hoping his father could see the visions of the future he had poured onto the page, a future meant for them both. "Look, I've been working on the car, just like you always dreamt," he breathed, urgency and love surging through every word. He pointed to the colorful sketches resting on the table. "It's our dream, Dad. It's powerful, it's beautiful, and it's everything we talked about. You taught me how to create something special, and right now all I want is for you to see it." "Tommy," his father rasped, wrestling against his exhaustion. You're so talented." Those words wrapped around Thomas like a warm blanket, igniting the flicker of hope that surged within. Maybe this would work. Perhaps he could anchor his father here, center him through the vivid imagery of their dreams manifested. But just as his dad began to share a small smile, the monitors beeped louder, alarming everyone present. A nurse intervened immediately, checking the four-line, recalibrating the machinery. "We need to stabilize him," she called out, urgency filling the space. Panic shot through Thomas like a wave. He felt helpless, the once radiant connection between them beginning to fray under pressure. He wanted nothing more than to claim this moment for himself and for his father, to let those designs transform into reality right before their eyes. "Dad, hold on, please," he shouted, his voice rising, a frantic plea woven into the chaos. They pushed the doctors and nurses back, creating a clear area around his father, who began to slip further away. Yet all Thomas could think about was those dreams they carved together. Fighting the swell of panic, he pulled the sketches from the bedside table, holding them close to his heart. "Look," he cried, "this is it. This is everything we wanted. I'm going to finish it, I promise. But you have to stay with me, Dad." His father's eyes flickered, the exhaustion replaced by a spark of recognition. Like an ember igniting a fire, a whisper passed between them. "You're my heart, Tommy, keep creating. In that instant, the love they shared exploded in the air like fireworks. It was tangible, woven around them. Thomas seized that moment, letting all the memories flood through him. The laughter, the late-night conversations in the garage, the dreams that floated like clouds, always just beyond reach. I will make it the best car in the world for us, he promised, his voice firm. Unyielding power surged through him, driving him to work harder, faster. The thought solidified he could create something that would encapsulate the legacy of their love and the enormous dreams as the medical team worked tirelessly to stabilize his father. Thomas felt the weight of fear lifting ever so slightly. He raised the sketches to his father's view. See this curve? This represents our journey. And those colors just full of life. Just like you. This will be our tribute. For a split second, his father's eyes glimmered, a warmth reigniting their bond, as though he too envisioned the beauty of what was to come. Yet then came another sharp alarm echoing through the room. With swift determination, the nurses and doctors continued working. The machines whirred like they had their own heartbeat. As desperation clawed back at Thomas, he forced his voice to stay steady. Dad, just focus on me and on what we've built. A nurse turned to him, her face softening. It's important for him to hear you right now. Don't stop. Breathing deep, he leaned down closer. I'm going to finish our masterpiece. It's more than just a car. It's our legacy. We're pushing boundaries, Dad. Together, with every word, he could almost feel the bond stretching tighter. The love manifesting in that room, illuminating the gloom. The chaos swirled around them, yet within that small bubble of connection, hope soared above despair. Someone shouted more medical orders, but Thomas tuned it all out. All he needed was to believe in what he had created and to let that love flow like fuel. In those poignant moments, he felt that dream transform. It was not just his father's ambition or his own. It was a shared heartbeat echoing against the walls of the universe, a testament to love, resilience, and the unbreakable connection that transcended even the darkest moments. Just then, the energy shifted. His father's face opened into a soft smile, and Thomas felt a surge of warmth washing over him. Now, go finish it, my boy, he whispered, each word a precious gift. Thomas nodded emphatically, tears catching in his throat. I will, Dad. Promise. He stepped back, feeling the thrum of energy reverberating through every fiber of his being. As they stabilized his father with new clarity, the memories melded into visions. He pictured that car zooming down an open road, made not just of metal but of dreams, love, and memories never to fade. He could see it so clearly now, impatient for tomorrow's dawn, as hope burned brighter than fear, guiding him toward the finish line of his ambition. They had built something eternal together, woven perfectly into the fabric of their lives. And in that moment, amid the frenzy of medicine and worry, Thomas understood he would see this through. He would breathe life into their creation. For his father, for the legacy that car would soar, embodying every pulse of love, every drop of hope. And when the world saw it, they would recognize it was more than just a vehicle. It was the spirit of familial love incarnate. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your reactions and feelings about the ending.